Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it is time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. Geeky is going to lead this video. We're going to talk about the Galactic Starcruiser. It might not be dead yet.
Well, we don't know how it's coming back, but there's some movement on it that might lead it to something else.
Like a bowel movement.
I knew you were going to do that. That might lead us either something else. We don't know if it's going to be Star Wars, though. That's the thing. We don't know if they're turning it into something else or what's going on. But they are taking some aspects of the Galactic Starcruiser and they're already using it for something else, which we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, so this is going to be new to me. You just put this article up on piratesandprincesses.net. We said before, like, they did not dump that much money into this thing to just walk away from it completely, and Disney has a tendency to repurpose things later.
$400 million for this building, and then they wrote off $300 million of it when they closed. It wasn't even open for 2 years, 20 months. It was open 20 months. It opened on March 1st, 2022, and it was closed by September 30th, 2023, right ahead of the end of the year, fiscal year.
If only someone could have predicted that it was going to be a colossal failure based on what we'd seen. If only
not
someone
just that, the price. I mean, everybody kept saying the price is too high.
Yeah.
Didn't listen, it's for our whales. Anyway.
People who are very, very fat and like a lot of buffet food. No.
But I didn't go.
No.
Sorry. Anyway.
No. This is just a huge miscalculation and a huge missed opportunity. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, like, you made this original trilogy, you had dinner with Darth Vader, I think people would have loved it. But,
I don't know.
Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to piratesandprincesses.net. That's where the story is coming from. So walk me through this. What's going on?
Okay, so there have been some permits filed recently that shows that there is some movement on this location. Now, again, they closed it down at the end of September last year. Now, if you remember when they announced they were closing it down last year, Josh D'Amaro back in June had made comments and he had talked about they were going to do something with it. They asked him what they were going to do next. He said, no hints yet, but something will happen, which could have been, talking at your ass until you figure out what you're doing. But he had said before they were going to do something with it. I can't see Disney letting the building just sit there when they could use it for something else, even if it was offices. I can't see them just letting it sit. So everybody's talking now that they're going to move forward on the building because there were some new construction permits that were filed last month over here. And the Disney Tourist blog has information about it. They said that, here, it goes down here, that there was some permits filed by Sun State Awning and Graphic Design.
Okay.
They're a company based out of Sanford, Florida that specialize in custom awnings made of canvas or metals for commercial or residential locations. Okay. So they're gorgeous and imaginative. So they, say, well, they made a joke about Spirit Halloween, putting a banner out, which I thought was funny. But they're talking about how, it could be for something that from the front of the building. It could be something that they're doing on the inside of the building to do some kind of staging area to change it. It could even be, they said, something that's to cover their atrium, which was Florida.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, for those of you who don't know, like, you were supposed to go into their atrium on the ship, and it was literally just like a little section that took you outside.
And you can jiggle rocks.
You can jiggle rocks.
But not in the fun way.
No, that happens other places in Disney, I'm sure. But I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm sure these companies know the ins and outs of the tax laws, but I'm like, how do you write this thing off for hundreds of millions of dollars and also are able to just turn around and reuse it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what they said. They said that they were wondering if it's conceivable the awning could be used for cast members, because if the building was going to use for backstage offices, things like that, which we're not sure how they're going to use it. Like we have, like, over at Epcot, the Wonders of Life Pavilion, and it's just sitting empty now. They were using it for Imagineering for a while, and then they were going to turn it into Play Pavilion, and they didn't. So, they take these buildings and they could do different things with them.
Well, I have an idea. You could have a Batu Life Day festival with a bunch of food kiosks, and then have people go into the show building for even more stuff they can buy.
Or they could
for
just
Life Day.
have a festival in the building and you pay an extra ticket to go to the building to go to the festival.
You
Kind of
could
like
do
they
that.
used to do with like they had that one gaming center, kind of like a Disney Quest situation where you can go do the lightsaber training, you can go do the video game, flying the ship thing. You could do like, festival booths and stuff like that. And you just pay. You don't have to have people stay overnight. I mean, you could pay extra to do that, but the people that want to just come in, you can just have a ticket maybe and do something like that.
Now, Disney does have other buildings that they actually rent out for different events, for different corporate events. In fact, I got to go inside Spaceship Earth one time. They have a lounge in there. I don't think people realize they actually have a lounge that overlooks Epcot. Sometimes they'll rent out attractions for different events. I could see them using it as like some kind of a corporate event venue.
There's all those rooms though. Like, what are you gonna do with all those rooms? Like, unless you're turning them into offices or something, what are you gonna do with all
They
those?
could do that. They could do, I don't know. What if they made it like, oh, you can have your own Star Wars wedding. You can get married on board the Halcyon, and then you could have your own little
DVC it or something.
DVC it or something. I mean, I don't know. I can see them doing. I mean, honestly, the smartest thing to do would have been not to build it.
I agree, and definitely not theme it to Disney's sequel trilogy.
Yeah, the next smartest thing to do would be to actually roll back the entire Star Wars land, all of Galaxy's Edge,
That's
this thing
not gonna
included.
happen.
Roll it back to original trilogy. The most bankable part of Star Wars. That's what you paid the billions of dollars for, right? The Star Wars everybody knows and loves. Roll it back to that, and you bring in Darth Vader and C-3PO. And
it's funny you mentioned that because so Anthony Daniels was at MegaCon, and during his panel, I am C-3PO, meet Anthony Daniels. Apparently, he talked about how he had filmed some scenes where like he was one of the motion capture suits as C-3PO, and it was supposed to be used for the hotel. He said, curiously, what he filmed was going to be in that hotel. I shot a scene using motion capture. It was brilliant, but then, of course, they closed the hotel.
Oh, okay.
So apparently, he had filmed some stuff before they closed it. Like, I don't know if they were going to add it to what they had, which they could have added it to their sequel trilogy, or they were going to maybe possibly make some changes that people actually would have wanted to see.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because that tells me that wasn't something that they were going to do at opening, that they were going to add C-3PO. Because if they had added more legacy characters to it, if they slash the price, slash the number of days, just make it like a day trip thing or just a day offering or just a couple hours or something.
Well, I think they can't because of all those rooms. They have to at least have it overnight.
Yeah. Or just do like, okay, well, we do throughout the week, we do the day offering, and then the weekend we do a more special version of it. And that's when you stay over. Whatever. They could have made it work.
If they had made the cost significantly less.
Yeah, the cost and the theming. Even if it takes place in the sequel trilogy era, it looks like Star Trek. It does not look it doesn't look like Star Wars.
Well, they also, there's the whole problem too that, they had, what they offered with it was kind of lame. I mean, like you got like the really cool lightsaber training or you got to be on the bridge and all that crap. But like, when you had dinners and all that, but you didn't like, when you had downtime, they gave you like an iPad, this thing.
Yeah.
And then basically you played, they scheduled everything out for you. So you had to be on schedule for everything. And then you basically played like, cards and virtual games and stuff, and like, oh, you could do droid racing if you, buy your own droid and then race your droid and all this other shit.
It was
Spend more money.
It was very, very cheap. It was kind of like the DashCon version of with the Star Wars hotel.
And then they had the whole problem too, where like it's a one and done experience. So people go and pay all this money and there's nothing else. Like, I mean, yeah, they keep saying, well, you can go back and do different things and choose a different story. And I'm like, yeah, but people aren't going to pay that much to do that.
No.
You could have done offerings like they do on Crazy Cruise Lines where you have like, hey, we're doing Life Day for Christmas, or hey, we're doing something for Halloween. And they could have done some different things like that, which would have brought people in for those, but they didn't do that. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. We don't know what they're going to do with it. We just know that they're putting awnings up, so they're doing something. One thing that I thought was interesting, though, that they are using it for was, remember how when we talked about this before, when you got in your your shuttle from the Starcruiser to Batuu, that you would leave you off in the special private entryway that you could just walk in and walk out. You had to come in and out that way, and it was only for guests and it was private. Well, now apparently they're going to use that for the Create Your Moment, the Star Wars upcharge photos.
Oh my God.
That you can go get your pictures taken in that secret private area where you used to catch your box car to go back to box truck to go back to the hotel.
I cannot believe of all the stuff they were cutting all these things at Disney. They're, you know, all these announced projects, they were cutting back on them. And they went through with this. Like,
I know.
Like, hey guys, we're not doing very well financially. People aren't spending as much money on travel and we're entering a recession. Let's make the most ridiculously overpriced, stupidest thing we could do and base it on the least popular era of Star Wars.
For the ridiculous price.
For $6,000.
Well, what pisses me off is they got a $300,000 write-off on this. They get to keep the building that they paid $400,000 for. They get to keep the building. They made all that money off the guests they did have because initially it was really busy. So they had all those people coming in initially and they got to keep all that. And after all that, for 20 months, they had it and they get to keep and they got to write off almost all of it, 3/4 of it. And they only said only 100 million of it came out of their pockets.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably, you know, made some of that back with the guests and different things. Yeah. So I'm like, that's, I guess that's how corporations always win.
Yes, it's how they win. They basically, like, even when you lose, you win. That's what people don't understand. Like, there's a difference between an individual paying taxes and a corporation paying taxes. Corporation, like, they don't want the corporation to go out of business. So they're going to be like, oh, well, that's okay. Oh, you didn't have a very good year. Oh, it's okay.
I would love to be able to go and just eat, like, you know, 3/4 of a candy bar and then say, oh, here's the rest. I want, you know, to only pay. I want to be reimbursed for everything but the quarter I left behind. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. But here we are. Yeah, so they're already using it already for the photo pass, which they're charging, like, it's like ridiculous, like $100 for like 20 minutes or something. I forget what it is off the top of my head. And then you can go in here and get pictures taken in this area. And that's what they're using it to still cash in on it. But that's just the entryway at Hollywood Studios.
God.
So who knows what the hell they're doing with it? They're doing something with the Galactic Starcruiser, whether it comes out to be a hotel reopen with still Star Wars, don't know. If it's going to be used for cast members, don't know. Corporate events, who the hell knows? But they do have permits filed. They're doing something with an awning. So they're doing something with it, just don't know what the fuck it is.
So this is what gets me about like Disney bloggers and stuff. Though, like, they're doing something with it, guys. They filed a permit for an awning.
Well, no, they were kind of making fun of it too. I mean, when you read this article, if you got Disney Tourist blog, you can
people are getting all excited.
It was pretty funny. They said, I think they just tease the stuff for the people that are really wanting to hear anything good, but they're not holding their breath either.
Well, even the band, like, we're looking at pictures of the band. It's like two cosplayers. I'm like, I would expect for the amount of money you're paying
for characters you don't know.
Give us an animatronic version of the Max Rebo band. Like, seriously, you could have, like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, the stage just like opens and there's the whole freaking Max Rebo band and they're animatronic and it's cool and they're dancing and singing whatever. It's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, I guess, you know, but with aliens. That's kind of what I expected. And they just really, like,
because it costs a lot more money.
It was about 10%. My thing is, like, if you couldn't do it to the extent that you originally planned to do it, then you shouldn't do it at all.
Right.
Because now you just look stupid.
Yeah. And this is the stuff they were supposed to give with your ticket to get into Galaxy's Edge. You're supposed to get, like, the cool, like, immersion, blasters and all that stuff and characters interacting with you and all that crap. And this is what was supposed to come with it. And then they paywalled it, and then they paywalled it so high that no one wanted to pay it. So it is what it is. And like you said, then for that paywall, you get this budget cut, you know, version of this entertainment and budget cut. Like, most of the time you're on your ship, except for a couple experiences, it's like play with your iPad. You know, it's like, oh, hot damn, $6,000.
Jiggle your rocks, play with your iPad. You're gonna have to entertain yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. When you aren't scheduled, like, for everything. So.
I mean, I'm just like, hey, guys, look, if you want to make some money, sex droids. I'm just saying.
No,
sex droids.
Not at Disney. Trust me, if you look around Disney on your own, I'm sure you'll find just as much entertainment without a droid.
So
go on Ratatouille, apparently.
Build another one of these in Vegas.
Ask the cast members. Go ahead.
Build another one of these in Vegas, and you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want in Vegas.
No, we're not. We're not. Why must you take it there?
I just,
my ears are bleeding.
I cannot believe they did this. I cannot believe, of all the things they announced. And there was some cool looking stuff that they announced. Like, I actually thought the festival pavilion thing looked pretty cool. You know, the triple decker festival pavilion, I thought was kind of cool. But no. Let's build the Galactic Starcruiser. for people with entirely too much money who just want to like light it on fire, I guess.
Pretty much.
Oh my God. Are we gonna wrap it up?
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.